Okay, we're still setting up here. Okay, let's see if we are live. Okay. Don't remember this. Okay, yes, I am live. Okay, we're trying to get set up here. And I see we've got 2 watchers, or what do they call it? They call it viewers. We got, whoa, that says 12 viewers. Nah, I should say there's 2 people that made comments in the chat room. That's what I should say. All right, we're trying to set up here. I experimented a couple of days ago with doing YouTube streaming, and it seemed to work, but something really weird is when I go to my channel to look at the video I streamed and see if, it came out okay or whatever, it's not listed. But yet, if I go and look at my history of videos I've watched, it's in there. So I don't know what that's all about. And so consequently, I can't do anything with it as far as changing whether it's private or public or making comments to it or anything, because it's not showing up on my listing of videos that I did on YouTube. So I'm going back to Hangouts, and Hangouts have worked in the past, and so we're going to see if they still work. So that's where I'm at. And my this is the little laptop which I was going to use to monitor either my streaming or my Hangouts. But I want to demonstrate or show you something on it today. So I can't use that. So I'm using a desktop that's behind me across the room. So I have to go over there to look at the chat and also look and see if I'm still on the air. So stand by while I do that. Okay. Okay, we got Geiger Counter, Brett, and Glenn, who is in the chat room. And down here, oh my gosh, holy cow! We got 20 viewers. At least that's what it's telling me. We got 20 viewers. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm doing. It's, what time is it? It's 10 o'clock in the morning here in Clearwater, Florida. And screen went blank. What I was going to show you is not directly related to shortwave radios or scanners or anything like that, but it's electronics, and it's kind of related, but not directly. Oh, well, let me just get into it. Good grief, I'm babbling. Oh, a microphone is way over there across the room, so you're probably not hearing me. I cannot. I don't know how to adjust the microphone right now. I will. The problem is the boom I'm using for the camera is keeping me away from the desktop, so I can't get any closer. I'm standing behind it or sitting behind it. So if the audio is too low, let me know and I'll start yelling. Well, not yelling, but I try to talk louder. Now, what I had done in the past, and boy, am I rambling, what I had done in the past in my setup down in my workshop, I'm in my office right now, is I had a lapel microphone so I could be away from the workbench or whatever, and you could still hear me. I don't have that now. I have a desk mic, which I'll show you right now. Right there, right here. Well, where's my hand? Right here is the desk mic. So it's quite a ways from me. And I don't have this back in the view. Let me slide things around a little bit. You know, there's so many variables when you're doing these shows. And the other thing that completely blows my mind is when you're using this Hangout feature of YouTube, the picture that you're seeing is reversed. So everything you're trying to do, like, you know, that's backwards from what I'm seeing on the camera. So I don't know why that is, but that's the way it is. Let me look in the chat. I'll have to pause every once in a while and turn around and go across the room and look at the chat room. Okay. Okay, so apparently I'm speaking loud enough that you can hear me, even though I'm quite a ways from the microphone. Now let's get back to what I was going to show you, which is, you know, just some mucking around in my workshop here. Actually, it's not my workshop, it's my office. And I've showed you this little laptop that someone gave me. It's really underpowered, and unfortunately, they put Windows 10 on it. It originally came with, where's the camera? It originally came with Windows 7. That was a mistake. I've tried my best to clean it up and get programs off of it and gone through and saw what was running in background and tried to uninstall all kinds of these programs that the person had installed. It's running in background to give me a little more CPU power left for the things I want to do. Now, this is a very small, and that's the beauty of it. It's a very small laptop. I think it's 10 or 12 inches, very light. And because of that, it has no built-in DVD. So what I was toying with doing is I have two DVDs that you can boot up on if you have a DVD player, and it will run a version of Linux. And it has pre-installed a bunch of, not a bunch, but a number of software packages for SDRs and other things. And this is one of them. This is called Skywave Linux. And I had, oh gosh, 50 shows ago, I demonstrated this on another computer downstairs. And what I did is, on that computer, since it was a desktop, it had a fairly good size hard drive. I let the CD install this software on that computer, and so it's a dual boot system. So it either boots in Windows or it boots in Linux with these utilities. You know, I'm sorry, I keep waving my hands. And that worked pretty well. And there was a couple applications on that were pretty nice. Screen. There we go. So I thought, you know, I want to try it, because typically when you run Linux, it's not all mucked up with junk that Windows and or the vendor, in this case in HP, has put on there. It's pretty clean. And so it doesn't have a lot of overhead as far as CPU power to run. Okay, let me pause and check the chat room. Hold on. Okay. I see we have several people in the chat room. I'm not going to be able to respond to you right away in the chat room because, like I said before, it's on the other side of the room. I would normally use this to monitor the chat room, but I'm using it to show you this application. So anyway, this application is Skywave Linux. That's what I said. And so it's a version of Linux, and it's got pre-installed software in it related to SDRs and amateur radio and stuff like that. The other one is called Andy's Linux or something like that. Same idea. Whoops. Same idea. Andy, whoever Andy is, compiled this set of software tools on a Linux distribution, they call it, and made it a ISO file so that you can boot to it. Now, I have that. I think it's right here. I have that. Oh, let me see. Yeah, it's right here. I have it installed. Oops, keep kicking the camera. I have it installed on this USB dongle. So I can plug in this USB dongle, and when the computer is booting up, on this computer, you hit escape, then you have a couple of options, and one of the option is, what do you want to boot to? Do you want to boot to the hard drive or something else that it should find? And so I've done that with this, and it worked fine. Now, the thing is, I don't have a version of this software that I'm running now on a USB. I could do that, but I just didn't have it. I had it on CD. And so like, well, this little laptop doesn't have a CD or DVD, I should say. It doesn't have a DVD. So I says, I've got other laptops that I need to boot from this DVD, and that's what's wrong with the laptop is the DVD doesn't work anymore. So I thought, I'm going to break down and get an external, which is right here. Let me move the camera a little bit. Here is an external DVD drive. It's a read and write drive. It will both read and write. A lot of times they're only read. This was $13 on Amazon. I couldn't believe it. $13. So I got that. I got it in this morning. Came in this morning. So I hooked it up to this little laptop. It's got a cable to hook to USB to power it. It has another cable that hooks to the USB to interface with the drive. So you have to have two connections. Or you can use an external USB power cube or something like that and not use the PCs or laptops USB port. And that's what I'm going to have to do, because right now, even though I've got this software, wherever it is, I've got this software loaded that has utilities to talk to an SDR, I've run out of USB ports. The reason being is I've used a USB port to connect to a wireless mouse because I'm no good at using these trackpads, so I don't like them. This one is really sensitive, and it just drove me nuts. So I thought, well, I'm going to use up a USB port and use one of my USB wireless mice. So that took up a port. So now I'm out of ports. I'm going to take a break here and go look at go look at the chat room and respond to some of your comments. Okay, stand by. Okay, it looks like everything's good. Yes, to the question about could you make this a Linux or Ubuntu system? Yes, you can do that, and you could install that either as a dual boot, as I mentioned before, so that you could still retain Windows, or you could boot into Linux, which I've done here kinda, except I didn't do the install. So what I've done is when it starts, this USB, this DVD starts, it gives you the option of whether you want to just run it from the DVD, which will be quite slow, or kick the camera, or install it. And like I said before, I have installed it in another machine, so that machine now is dual boot. And unfortunately, the default, because you got two choices, and the default is Linux, which I wish the default was Windows, because that's typically what I use on that computer. So anyway, so this setup now is running off of the DVD. So it's going to be really slow from the standpoint, if it has to go get something, it's going to be slow. So I'm just going to try to show you a little bit here of what's on this. And I've done a show on this Skywave Linux distribution, I'll call it. And so everything's hidden over here on the left-hand side, all the programs. And there's a whole bunch of programs. There's general programs for Linux, and then there's specific programs for SDRs or ham radio stuff or shortwave listening stuff. I don't know how to adjust my camera live as far as zooming in. So I'm going to physically zoom in, and maybe you can see the screen a little better. I don't know how well that's showing up, but over here on the left-hand side, which is on the screen that I'm monitoring, is the right-hand side. I hate the fact that they flipped that. Is all these programs. And we even have FLDigi, which is a decoder software for decoding various modes on your computer. And we have, when we get, I'm using the wrong mouse. I'm using the mouse for my other computer. So let me get back up here. Okay, open back up. Where'd you go? Oh my gosh. Oh, there it is. Now, granted, this computer is a little slow. We have Web SRD. If you're familiar with Web SRD, that's where you can use radios on the internet, just like they were yours. So the first application here is to go to that website and use those radios on the internet. The next one is Cubic SRD, which is another program to control an SRD, similar to SDR Sharp. Okay, the next one down is GQX. It's another program to control an SDR. Then we have Open Web RX RTL SDR. I think that's where you can put your dongle on that website so other people can use your radio, your software-defined radio. FLDigi, Dump 1080. Now, Dump 1080 is that program I showed you a couple of shows ago that will monitor aircraft and give you position information and stuff about aircraft that are flying overhead. So it's in this package. The next one is Lantern. I have no idea what that is. Probably something to do with Linux. And then Kodi, which I think is a way of watching videos and stuff on your computer versus your TV. And then some other utilities for Linux. So there's a bunch of nice tools. What was the first one? I think I skipped over the first one. Oh, it's to search on your computer. So I'm running this in memory and off the DVD player. So what's on my hard drive is not being touched right now. As I said before, there is an option when you boot this up. You can say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and install it on this computer. And then it's on your computer and you're running from the hard drive and it's much faster. All right. I think I've showed you everything I wanted to show. Like I say, this little, let me show you again. This little external hard drive, excuse me, not hard drive, DVD reader and writer is $13 on Amazon. I'll put it in my Amazon store so it's easier to find. And it does have two cables, one for power and one for data. I've run out of USB ports, as I mentioned before, so I'm going to find the power cube to provide the power. That'll free up a USB port. Okay, I'm going to go over to the other computer and see if there's any questions I can answer that I can answer. Stand by. It was interesting to see that several people in the chat room said they have kind of gone over to the other side. I won't call it the dark side, but it's not the dark side. They've gone to the other side and they're using Linux basically full time. I've been on that side several times. I always seem to migrate back to Windows, and the only reason only reason I can't talk is, only reason I migrate back is I'm lazy. It's that simple. I'm lazy. Now, there are distributions, they call them, versions of Linux now that are pretty Windows-like. But then when you run those distributions, you give up what you went to Linux for, which is a nice, clean operating system that's not eating up all your CPU. So it's kind of a catch-22. All right, I think unless you have some questions about this setup. So like I said, what I'm going to have to do if I want to do this. The other thing is, if I wanted to go back and reinstall Windows, for instance, I could, the easy way is to use DVD and boot up from the DVD and then do the installation. Another way you can do it is there's a couple of programs that will put those, they're called .iso files, they're data files. You can put those ISO files on one of these memory sticks. So you can do that. And now you don't need a DVD. I have most of the Windows operating systems all the way down, or all the way back to 3.1. 3.1 is on floppy disk. So that would be another problem. I actually have an external floppy disk drive system. But all my other ones from Windows XP up are on DVDs. The ISOs, they're on DVDs. So then it's just more convenient to use a DVD drive than to have to make a bootable ISO file on one of these memory sticks. Now, I watched a video from Brightech, not Brightech. Anyway, the gentleman over in Europe who's a computer whiz, and he did a video on installing multiple ISOs on a single drive so you could boot to many of them, and not have to have a dongle for each one. I'm going to do that, but I haven't done it right away. I do have a 64 gigabyte drive that I can dedicate and put all those ISOs on, and therefore I don't need this. And it's much easier, of course, if you're going to help somebody to take something like this instead of having to take this in case they don't have a DVD or their DVD is dead. That's about it. I hope the audio was good. I know it's a little low because I can't get close to the mic. Like I said before, the mic is somewhere over there. It's way over there. And I'm probably 2 feet away. After I get a little power adapter for the USB port, so I can unplug the power cable to this DVD, then I will put back on the SDR dongle right here, and then boot from that, or not boot from that, then boot from this, which is the Skywave Linux distribution disk, and I can run, if I can get it open again, I can run some of these applications for the SDR. I'm just looking at the screen. I can't believe that they don't have some place on the screen I can look at on Hangouts. It tells you how long I've been on, how long I've been babbling. It's interesting. Well, I'm supposed to have started at 10, so it's 10:24. I've been babbling for 24 minutes. Now, and we still have 18 viewers. I can't believe that you guys are hanging around listening to me ramble. Okay, now I'm going to stop again, pause again, and I'm going to go over to my other computer and look at the chat. So right now, if you got any questions or any comments, complaints, I'll go look and I'll see them. There's a little delay there, so bear in mind there is a delay. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to go over there and look at the chat room. Okay, I think we're through with this, whatever that was. The next thing, and I'm trying to think. No, I'll start another Hangout, or I'll just do a offline show. But what I'm going to show you next is something that came in 2 days ago. This little guy right here. And it's on. Why is it on? That's interesting. How long it's been on? I guess it's yesterday. What a dummy. This is the GY561. And it's, of course, out of China. And it is a frequency meter and a power meter. So if you've got a handheld transceiver, you can mash the transmit button, and this will detect the frequency that it's transmitting on. Or, and this is why I got it, via this little cable and some adapters, you can hook it directly. Now, I'm not talking about, over the air type thing, directly to your handheld, your HT, and measure the power out of it. That's what I'm interested in, because a lot of these little Chinese HTs, they advertise, 5 watts out. I don't think they do that. I think they only achieve maybe half that. So with this, you can actually see what the power out is. Now, this only works works better in the amateur radio band, the 2 meter band, or the 70 centimeter band. That's where it works best as far as accuracy. So I'm going to do a video on this, either another Hangout or a live Hangout or just offline. Comments. Would you rather I do a live Hangout on this or just record it like I normally do? So give me some feedback there. And also, did you enjoy this Hangout? Like I say, I haven't done Hangouts in ages. They seem to go over better than a offline because there's interactivity. Although right now I'm having to scroll over to my other desk to see the activity. And what I'll do if I do a Hangout with this, I'll use excuse me, I'll use this as my monitor, and then I can see, easily see on my desk here the chat room. So that'll work out better for me, and that'll be better for interacting with the people that are watching. Okay, so I'm going to call it quits, and depending on what your response is as far as a live review of this or just do it offline like I normally do it, I'll decide which way to do it. Thanks for watching. I appreciate everybody stopping by, and have a great day. Bye-bye. Okay, Golan had a comment about Hangouts where people that didn't happen to stop by at the time of the live Hangouts will miss it. Well, the Hangout is recorded on YouTube, so it's saved out there, and it's available for watching anytime. You can't participate live, but you can watch after the fact, like my normal off the air recordings. So that's the way the Hangouts work. Unfortunately, as I mentioned at the very beginning of this, when I was trying to use the OBS screen capture software and do YouTube streaming, it captured the file, but I can't find it. And other people will tell me it's out there, but I can't find it. So I'm not going to go there until I figure out what's wrong with that. I'll stay with these old Hangout scheme, although it doesn't have as many features. So that's hopefully that answered your question about people missing out. Let me go check the chat room one more time, and I'm shutting down. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure this worked so that I do have a good file out there for people to view later. If it did work, then I'll review this little guy in another Hangout. See, it's 10:30, probably 11:30. Oh my gosh, I see my face in that screen. Whoa, that's pretty gross. Anyway, thanks for stopping by, and have a great day. Bye-bye.